Carbonites Gaming.
Welcome back, Knights, to another Summoner's War video with myself, TorchHealer. Today might be a bit of a longer video, but uh, we're going to look at the wind monsters. Just wind in general. Next week will be water or fire, and the following week will be whichever one I don't do next week. But we've had some questions talking about what monsters are good to keep. Um, so I figured let's go element by element. Light and dark, you want to keep one of each no matter what. Um, but let's take a look at wind this week. All right, so like usual, let's crack that beer, get this video going. There we go. Alrighty, so got a nice cold beer sitting here. Let's take a look at some wind monsters. All right, so take a look at the collection. We'll start off with wind. Um, Now wind is it's kind of interesting. If you look through all of the monsters, you'll notice that water has a tendency to do more kind of healing aspect things. Um, Wind usually is more damage based from what I've understood. Um, but this is just kind of my 2 cents on it, right? But anyways, so we're gonna start off with. I'm only gonna go through the unawakened ones, just because it's easiest for me. So any silver star monster, right? You see the first row and half of the second row with silver stars. They cannot be awakened, right? So right off the bat, I know some people do use the wind mischievous bat, or sorry, the water mischievous bat, because it does have an attack bar decrease, right? This has a defense break and attack bar decrease. Um, but there's so many other monsters that you can use with that, or that have that kind of skill that you can use, um, that is not really worth building a mischievous bat for any reason. All right. So essentially, anything with a 1 star is going to be food. There were some people that used to use the low elementals because they have multi hits. They used to use them in Necro, but there's a ton more options for that. All right, so anything with 1 star is essentially you're just using it to feed and get your 2 stars to 3 star, or get your 1 stars to 2 stars. All right, if that's the way you're going with it. Next in the line is obviously your Angelmons, right? You can't use them for fighting, but they're really good. Make sure you awaken them before you use them. It gives 150% of their experience bonus, all right? So always awaken your Angelmons before you use them. Now, kind of into the meat and potatoes of the video, let's go through the 3 stars, the 2 stars and 3 stars, and take a look at them. I don't know a whole lot about a lot of the 2 stars and 3 stars, so this is kind of a learning experience for myself as well. Um, and then once we get into the 4 stars, I always recommend keep one of every 4 star you have. Uh, and then if you're lucky enough to have a 5 star, obviously you're going to use that anyways. So let's start off with these 2 stars. The fairy, awakened. What do we have? Damage increased on harmful effects. Remove and heal. Yeah. So I think this would be, for me personally, it would be food. There's a lot better healers out there like a Lulu. A Lulu removes um, harmful effects as well as heals an entire team. It can provide immunity. So Lulu, which is a water howl, is going to be my recommendation for your 2 star healer, or Colleen, which is a fire monster. Um, the imp, I I honestly I don't see a whole lot of use for a lot of 2 star monsters. I know they're great for building up your 2 stars into 3 stars. They're really good for skilling, or not skilling up, but getting your 3 stars up to 4 stars, experience wise. One big thing is Shannon. Shannon, the Wind Pixie, is a great starter monster for giants, for your teams, for whatever. Even if you're starting into or not necro, but into TOA. Um, so third skill increases attack power and defense for 3 turns, right? And then this goes down to a 4 turn cooldown. So essentially, you're going 1 turn without that buff. Um, Skill 2 attacks all enemies, decreasing attack speed with an 80% goes up to 100% chance, and it's usable in 3 turns. So with the Shannon, if you're using her in giants, you're going to slow down that giant, so he's only going to do his counterattack every 7 hits, where he won't get his big AoE off and destroy your team. So you're giving an attack buff, a defense buff, you're slowing the other team, and I think this just has a chance to glance. Yeah. And then you can add a glancing hit um, for your Giants run. So that's a very stable monster for a beginner's Giants run. I know I used her. I think I still have her at 5-star, and I used to use her in my Giants team, Giants 10, all the time. All right, so Shannon, the Wind Pixie, one monster worth taking a look at. All right, Yetis. I don't see a whole ton of use for the Yetis. Recovers element or HP. Um, stuns, 30% chance. Yeah, it's not a very high chance. And then decrease attack speed. I would skip the Yetis. Probably. I know you need the dark one to fuse Veramos, but I would be skipping it. Um, Now, Gamir, you get Seek, which is the fire one, when you first start the game. And I think Gamir is, yeah, lower HP, higher attack power. So the bad thing is you need him to be, fairly hurt in order to boost up his attack power a bunch. Continuous, what is that? Continuous damage? Oh, no, just continuously inflict damage. Okay. And then recover. So, once again, not great. It's a damage dealer that needs low health. So I would probably just use that for more skill ups on Seek or as food. Ramagos. Now, Ramagos is going to be one of the special ones because it does have a second awaken ability. All right, so you can second awaken it. Let's just look at its normal awakening first. So, first skill, damage proportionate to your max HP. So just throw a ton of health on this guy. Just HP, 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 speed, whatever. Um, as well as you can reduce the enemy's attack bar. Not bad. Then you've got recovers 30% of your own HP and increases your own defense. Well, that's not too shabby, I suppose. Skill 3. Skill 3 is so attacks with the amount of HP you've lost as the damage. And then if you kill, you get an extra turn. So the one great thing about Ramagos is you build him on a ton of HP. HP on slot 2, HP on slot 4, HP on slot 6, HP subs on 1, 3, and 5 with a bit of speed. You can put him on energy builds. It's as much HP as you can get on this guy. And then you want a bit of defense as well as some resistance and some speed. But you kill somebody with your skill 3, your clean shot, right? Say you have 45,000 HP, you've lost 40,000 of it. There's not a whole ton of monsters, especially in the new, beginner kind of setup that are going to have more than 35,000 HP. So you get that kill, you get another turn, you use, your defensive stance or crouch, and that refills 30% of your HP. Now you have him working with another monster that perhaps heals, like a Chasoon, which is a 4-star monster we'll see in a bit, and then suddenly you're back up to full HP, and you can just let him get whittled down. Use him as a tank against fire monsters, right? So you're fighting, let's say, um, I don't know, a Leica, right? Leica takes a few hits to take down. So Leica can sit here and beat on Ramagos while you whittle him down with water monsters. Same with like a Rakan. Rakan can beat on Ramagos while you whittle him down with other monsters. So Ramagos is obviously a monster I used in the very beginning. Definitely would recommend. Plus he has the second awaken form, which looks beastly, and all it really does is increases 5% for your HP recovery, and increases your chance to reduce the attack bar. All right, let's see who's next here. Sorry, Knights, my throat just went dry there. I had to mute the mic and hack up a bit of a lung. All right, who we got here? Elemental. Waking him up here. Continuous damage. Increases attack power and critical rate. And your own attack bar by 50%. Not really useful. If he's a damage dealer, he's a turn 2 damage dealer, which means you're going to need a bunch of HP and stuff on him, which isn't really going to be useful. Who do we got next? Garuda. Multiple times with lightning. Stun. Stuns are okay. And breakneck speed may stun. So I know the Garudas are really good. You get Tion when you first start up the game, which is the light Garuda. and I would continue to use him. He's going to be a better option for you than the Wind Garuda. The Water Garuda does roughly the same thing, but if that's the case, then you're looking at using your Tion anyways. Salamander, I know he's got a self cleanse and heal, which is fine. Continuous damage. He's a defense based monster, which is kind of nice. I still wouldn't look too deeply into him. There's a ton of other defense based monsters, there's one in this row that is going to be far superior, as well as has the option for a second awaken. Seal. What does Seal do? Inflict damage, reducing attack bars. That's not bad. Piercing screams, stunning, and continuous damage. Not bad. And decrease attack bar. So once again, not bad. You can reduce the attack bars, reduce the attack power, and stun. So once again, if you're looking at a Giants team, this is a good monster for kind of the waves, not the main boss. So Seal might be something worth looking into if that's kind of what you're looking for. Ugh, I'm just not having a good day with this cold here. It's a little chilly up here in the Great White North, so you might be hearing my furnace in the back and it's drying out the air. Anyways, Howl. uh, Attacks an enemy, recovers all allies' HP, or recovers all allies by 50% of the inflicted damage. So you need to have the heal based on damage. Could be useful. Harmful effects on you and a target ally. So it's essentially a damage version of Lulu, which is the water version of Chi-Chi. I would still go for a Lulu. That's just me. If you build Chi-Chi to attack heavy, then it's going to get killed right away and not do anything for the heal. If you build it HP heavy, then the attack isn't going to do any damage and it's not going to get any heal off of it. So as for Lulu, I would look into a Lulu. You can go with a pretty normal support build, HP, defense, HP, speed, defense, HP, speed, HP, HP, and still be useful with it. Viking. I know the dark one is used quite often in raids now. Throws 5 axes randomly with continuous damage. Alright, I can go down to 5 turn cooldown. Mm, uh, Decreases defense and damage increases according to your HP situation. So that might not be bad. You get a defense break. And then continuous damage. So this might not be a bad monster for, let's say, a starter Necro team. All right, it's an HP based monster. So if you're just getting into Necro, the 5 attacks is going to be huge on skill 3. The defense break is going to be helpful, as well as the continuous damage, because continuous damage does tick down. Each bit of continuous damage counts as a hit when it comes down to the boss. All right, and then the last 2-star is the Vagabond. I think you get him at the beginning. I want to say. I think you get Royd here at the beginning when you first start the game. So decreased defense on the first attack on skill 1, which is really good. Um, Decreased attack on skill 2 and deals damage to your max HP, which isn't bad. And a attack bar drop to 0. And a provoke. So once again, not a bad monster for, let's say, giants. You have elemental advantage. You have a defense break on skill 1. You have an attack bar reduction. It's really not a bad monster to look at. Once again, if you're building that first Giants B10 team, you're kind of looking at your 2 and 3-star monsters. The other good thing about low star monsters is they're really easy to skill up because you can get them all out of your unknown scrolls, right? So if you get 12 unknown scrolls, you can summon them. There's a good chance you're going to get a 2-star monster, and they're really easy to skill up. All right, so now we're getting into the ones where, it's going to be your mystical scrolls that you're looking at, and the big ones for me. All right, and I do know a little bit more about the 3-stars than I do the 2. Um, the Harpy, I don't think is useful. It's got a multi-hit, I do believe. Fierce kicks, defense break, multi-attack, and defense. And stun. So not great. You can get the same stuff out of a 2-star monster, but once again, it probably has better base stats. Um, but the one I'm excited about is Ramahan. All right. So just give me 1 sec. I'm going to take a sip of water because I love talking about this guy. Okay. So I got some beer in me. Hopefully that helps. Ramahan has a second awakening, which usually just boosts their stats, gives slightly better attacks, etc., etc. But you can skill him up easily. He is farmable in scenario. His first, like his skill 1, has a defense break. His skill 2 removes all beneficial effects. And his skill 3 is a defense based nuke. It hits huge. You put defense on this guy, so he's harder to kill, right? Unless you're going against something that ignores defense. But you load him up with defense and some speed and some crit rate, crit damage, whatever you want for your normal attackers, but you want him on defense. And then he nukes, and he gets a second turn if he kills the target, which I've seen this guy hit like 50, 60,000 for damage. So you can build him quite strong. And as a low level player, like I said before, you're not going to get a whole lot of HP or stuff on your monsters with a bit of speed on them. So if you have somebody that's proportionate to defense for your attacks, they're not going to be near as squishy. It's going to be a lot harder to kill. Um, and then you still get huge damage out of him. And you can farm his skill ups in the scenario, which is great. Not to mention, he has a speed lead for wind. So I'll show you a monster that will go great with, named Bernard. As for the second awakening, I do believe it's much the same, and it's all, yeah, it just has better stats and looks a lot cooler, right? So Ramahan is one that I would definitely recommend. Um, Ramahan, Bella, which is the wind, or sorry, the light Inugami, and then Rauk, which is the fire, are all worth looking into. And Crow, which is the dark one, but even I don't have a Crow, so. Uh, Ermida, I know that the passive is really good against fire, so if you're going in arena or something, fire will attack it, but is reduced damage. So you could use Ermida as a fire tank against like a Ramagos or a Laika or something like that. Reduces attack speed, and what's this? Removing a beneficial effect. So the same idea. Most of the um, serpents have the same first skill. It has a chance to remove one beneficial effect. My favorite serpent is going to be the dark one. Well, what the crap's his name? Mantura. So I would recommend Mantura over Ermita, but once again, it's another monster that you can use to tank fire hits if you need to. So Region. First skill, chance to provoke, and it's a defense-based monster again. Second skill increases your own defense and gives immunity. So now you're buffing what gives you what your damage is based off of, as well as immunity, and increases your attack bar by 50%. So the monster we talked about before, the Elemental, where he increases his crit rate and his attack, um, is really, it's not bad, but it's a turn 2 monster. With a Ragion, you buff your defense, which is what you use for your damage anyways, and you get immunity. So now you're going to be harder to kill. You can't be debuffed, and you're buffing what causes your damage. So it's a really good combo to have. And then decreases the inflicted damage by 15% and counterattacks with a 20% chance. So that means every time for a 20% chance, you can have a 25% chance to stun, which goes up to what, 35, so 70, um, to stun and provoke. So not a bad thing. You can, you know, you don't have to put revenge runes on him. You can just toss, some guard and whatever else you need. Some energy and guard is a lower level um, lower level player, like a newer player coming in, you could put him on Swift or Energy and still have an effective defense-based damage dealer. Bernard. So attack speed boost is big in this game. So with Bernard, the only rune set you want to put him on is Swift, a really fast Swift set, because he is going to increase your attack bar by 30% and your attack speed. So when you get those two things going, you can have slower monsters with like bigger damage outputs or tankier, and they're still going to get turns faster with this attack bar increase, right? Not to mention he weakens attack power and defense on skill 2, and I think it's just, yeah, and his damage is based according to his attack speed. So you put a bunch of speed on this guy. I think I had mine at 293 when before I started taking his runes off. I don't have my Bernard ruined right now. I'd put a lot of his runes onto my Wusa, but great monster. I used him up until late 2019. Out of the 3.5 years I've played this game, I used him for 3.5 of them so far. So great monster, and once again, he gives you everything you need, and that speed boost with Ramahan will increase his speed by 30% or 23%, sorry. So it goes off your base speed. So you look at it, that's going to boost his speed. If you have no speed runes on him whatsoever, that 23% is going to put him up to 20, 27. So yeah, 138. And then whatever you have on top of that, right? So it's really not that difficult to get him going quickly, and you can use another wind monster to buff his speed. And all these, if you're looking for like a giant speed 10 team, wind monsters are great. You get a bonus for the element, which means they have a higher chance of glancing, which means they're going to live a little longer, right? You can still do more damage. Anduril, I haven't looked a whole lot into the elemental ones, like I've said before, so it gives a crit rate for wind monster, not bad. Um, Reduces enemy attack bar to 0, and it always lands as a crushing hit, regardless of the enemy's attribute. So that would be good for. It's almost like a Theomar's thing, right? Where he gets there's no attribute difference. Attacks all enemies reduces attack power, not bad, with an 80% chance. You'll notice the higher the star level, the higher the chances things happen. Uh, Critical hit. This will increase your attack bar by 30%. So once again, this is a damage dealer. You're going to have to put some speed on him. He has a lower base speed, some speed, and some attack. And once again, Bernard could help with that. All right, Moria. I know that the high elementals have really good uses in the game. The light one and the fire one mainly, with the ignored defense. But let's take a look at Moria. Continuous damage, not bad. Soul, distributing HP recovery, or disturbing HP recovery, and recovering 35% if the enemy dies. So once again, it's one of those things where you have to have enough HP to live through the attack, as well as enough damage to make it worthwhile. And then just an attack that always lands as a critical. All right, Bearman, Dagor. Defense would work great with Ragion or Ramahan. Inflict continuous damage, decreasing attack bar by 30, increasing attack power of all allies, and removes 2 harmful effects. So a cleanser, not bad. Strikes and provokes, Once again, Lulu, I think, is going to be your better option for your cleanses and stuff. Disturbs HP, dashes, 2 attacks for a stun. It's a max HP. So his attack is based off of his HP, which is okay. Okay, so if your HP is higher than your enemies, you're going to deal better damage. And once again, he can be Second Awakened, looks a lot better, and I think the skills are slightly better. But once again, it's a HP based monster, so I would still go kind of with your defense based or with like a Ramagos. Hina. It's a critical hit, max HP. Once again, damage proportionate to the max. Oh, this is a very long one. And then damage increases to the attack speed and a silence. And then a crit rate for guild. Once again, Oh my god, I almost died right there. Um, so things like that, where one's proportionate to attack speed, one's proportionate to HP. I like to stick to monsters that like Ramahan, where everything is proportionate off of his defense. All right, Naomi has a chance to stun on the first skill, not bad. Two attacks, decreasing attack bar by 25%, not bad. Gains 25% critical chance, which is nice, and deals 20% more damage depending on harmful effects on the enemy. Not bad. Once again, a second awakening, which does crit rate will be 100 if the enemy has harmful effects. Not bad. So once again, this could be useful with your giants, and as a second awaken is even better. So Naomi, the Martial Cat, might be something to take a look at. All of the oh crap, what are you? Epicon priests. All of them do have some use. I will tell you that right now. So absorbs and any of the damage is 30% healed back towards you. Not that bad. Extends the time of beneficial effects, which is great, and recovers 10% HP on each, which does go up to 40%, which is another good thing. And then 5% per harmful effect that you cleanse, which isn't bad. And then a revive, which is really, really good. So if you're looking for like an arena, you can build her really tanky. For your scenario play, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but once again, if it's something you need, it's something you have. Magical archers have a great attack power um, leader skill, which is amazing. So if you need some attack power, that's who you use. Harmful effect. Oh, various harmful effects. Not bad. Damage increases by 15% per harmful effect. So an attack based on your speed, and then your critical rate is increased by 25%, and your crit damage to how much you've lost. So not bad. Could be okay. It'll be a bit squishy for a lot of the runs I think you're trying to do as a beginner in like a Giants 10. So Roger, what do you do, Roger? Two precise shots with a 25% chance to ignore defense. That's not bad. Remove one beneficial effect. Yeah, it's okay. And increases, or what is this? Relentless attack with arrows on random enemies, 4 total, and increases allies' attack bar after the attack. So a bit of an attack bar boost. If you have him go first, you really need some good speed on him, which is he's got good base speed. So he awakens into speed, I see. So not bad if you're going to use him as an attack bar buffer. But once again, if you have Bernard, who starts off with a higher base speed and gives your team a speed buff, it's really not much of a question for me. Pigma, I don't think the Imp Champions do a whole ton. Continuous damage, defensive stance, recovering HP and counterattacking, meh. And every attack has a chance to stun. Not really anything noteworthy for me. Um, there's a lot better options out there once you kind of get into the water and the fire monsters. Mystic Witches, Megan, which is the water one, is always going to be my recommendation. So same first skill with continuous damage. Decreased defense with a 50% chance. And if they have beneficial effects, it's a 100% chance. That's not bad. And removing the beneficial effects on one enemy with an 80% chance and disturbs HP recovery. Uh, and prevents receiving any. Okay, so that's the second skill on Megan, and then Megan's third skill is actually an attack bar boost again. So not bad. Gives a defense break, which is totally worth it, I guess. Um, Reaps life. Oh yeah, if you kill, you get another turn. Uh, Always lands as critical if the enemy's HP is 30% or lower. That's kind of nice. And what's this? The less HP the target currently has, the larger damage becomes. A cooldown is removed if the enemy dies. Well, that's kind of nice. If you kill the enemy with this death penalty, it allows it to continue to be death penalty, which is good. So once again, you have to have enough damage to make that worthwhile. Copper, defense-based damage dealer with an amazing third skill. So my copper isn't ruined that well, and I think he hits for 46,000. Um, so if your damage is 50% higher than your enemy's damage, it will ignore defense with a fairly large multiplier on the crit. So if I built mine defense crit damage defense, and yeah, he can hit for like, yeah, 43, between 43 and 45 usually, I think. So really good skill there. As long as you have enough defense on him and you're picking monsters with like a high HP and a low defense, you're always gonna get that buff or that extra damage out of it. And then skill 2 is an AoE defense break with, 50% chance, so has a chance to land. And skill 1 is a chance to stun, which is once again great. And he's a defense-based monster that's 3-star and easy to skill up. And I think you can farm his skill ups in the scenario as well. So copper is definitely something I'm gonna point you towards. Han gives a punch that ignores defense and weakens attack power. So that's, ignoring defense is something good. Recovers HP of allies according to your attack power and decreases the chance of being attacked with a critical hit. And then has a chance to roll into a skill 1, which is your rolling punch, into an ignore defense. So that's good, right? A little bit of randomness to it, but you have the chance to heal your team, put an anti-crit buff on there, and then ignore defense on an enemy as well. And same for the Phoenix kick. So attack lands 3 times, decreases defense for 2 turns with a 75% chance, recovers HP, so he heals twice. Right? Does this heal? Recovers HP, yeah. So heals twice and has an ignore defense first skill that he can proc into when he uses his second or third skill. It's a great monster to look at um, if you're looking into something that can do a little bit of ignore defense for you. So we're just going to do this last row of the 3 stars, all the 4 stars, really good monsters. If you do pull them, Lucian, which is the Joker, is awesome. Um, immunity and heals with Delphoy, awesome. But any of the 4 stars, look in the comments section, right? So we'll pull up this next one, and you can always pull up some monster info, right? You'll get some some good, some bad reviews on the monsters, but it gives you an idea of what other people have done when they built them. All right, so use that for your 4 stars and your 5 stars. Also use your guild. That's why they're there. Attacks and provokes for 50% chance. Whatever. Attacks with an axe recovers 20% of the HP. If the enemy dies, you recover 25 HP or 25%. Whatever. And your attack power is increased by 50 and healed by 30% of the damage you deal. And you get a shield. Whatever. It's a lot of single target provoke and not a whole lot of other stuff. It's supposed to be like a self-sustaining monster, but it's an attack-based monster, so you can just one-shot him with something else. Uh, all of the lizard men I have found are somewhat useless. So weakens defense and continuous damage. Attacks all enemies dealing proportionate to your defense and continuous damage, which isn't bad. I just don't think that their multiplier is very high. It reflects 10% of incoming damage. Um, okay, so reflects some damage and then provokes as well. So you can build him quite tanky, and hopefully he can withstand some stuff, but you can just ignore defense and get rid of him. It's a fairly common thing to do. Up next is Beastman. Beast Hunter? Whatever. Alright, Beast Hunter. Suri. Damage that ignores all damage reduction effects. Yeah, okay. Disturbs HP and can inflict damage increases by 15% per harmful effect. Okay. Attacks an enemy with an arrow that can't be removed, removes all beneficial effects granted, weakens defense, increases. There's a ton of stuff, and increases your attack bar. So, not bad on Giant. Giant's boss, right? This is kind of where I'm looking at for a lot of the beginner players is getting to that Giant's B10, getting comfortable with it, and getting good stable runs. So to remove that attack buff that he puts on, plus you put a defense break, uh, glancing hit, and you increase your own attack bar with a critical hit. So throw some crit rate on him, right? Might not be a bad monster. He's got an arena skill or arena leader skill, which is kind of useless for him, but Mav. Mav is a great monster again. So can stun on the first skill, whatever. Declare war. So he can provoke one enemy for 1 turn and it increases his health by 25%. This is the big one. Removes 1 harmful effect on all of your allies and decreases their skill cooldown time by 1 and increases the attack speed for 2 turns. So Let's say you've got a Lucian, you use your amp magic, and Mav comes in, it's on a 4-turn cooldown. He refreshes, it's now on a 3-turn cooldown, right? So if you can get some good speed on Mav, he can provoke the monsters that you don't want hitting your other team members, and then he can also refresh and give your team some buffs, knocking down their skilled cooldown times, which is really really helpful in like TOA if that's something that you're looking into doing. Um, Olivine, I think, has a full cleanse, increase attack bar, and remove all harmful effects. Really, really good. So with Olivine, you can have a max of 10 debuffs on your team at once. Olivine comes in, clears them all off, increases your attack bar by 40%, and then you just keep going with what you were doing, right? So Battle Stomp decreases attack bar by 25% and damage according to your max HP. I think first skill is, yeah, just to provoke. So Olivine is a good cleanser, but no heals. All right, who's next? The cowgirls I've never really looked at. You don't pull them out of scrolls, which is kind of one thing, but 3 projectiles, reduce attack speed, remove a beneficial effect. That's not bad. If you're gonna get a cowgirl, go for the light one, right? Lauren, by far the best of the cowgirls. Zephyrus, all the charger sharks, their animations are awesome. Um, Increasing your crit rate, it's kind of whatever. Decreasing attack power and attack speed with an 80% chance, not bad, but it's single target. And attack power and attack speed for 3 turns and gain another turn immediately. So not bad. Better than the elementals that increase their attack bar or attack and crit rate, but then have to wait another turn to use it, right? So Spiritism is a little better, but it's everything's single target, which isn't really helpful. Low stun, meh, whatever. Attacks 3 times, 20% chance to decrease defense, and gains another turn with 30% chance. So a little RNG involved in that. And increases attack speed, inflict damage, attack speed, attack bar will increase after the attack. So if you build him fast, he gives himself a speed buff, and his attack is based off his speed. So it's kind of a niche thing if that's something that you want. Namib, da, da, da. Continuous damage, damage according to max HP. Slams body, so hurts yourself for 10% and deals 20% of your max HP. I'd rather use Ramagos. Becomes immune to continuous damage. If somebody hits you with continuous damage, it goes back to them. So if you're fighting something that does a lot of continuous damage, that might be useful, but that's about it. Crane, so the water and the fire ones are really good. Water one cannot be defense broken and increases his own attack bar when he's hit with a critical. And Bulldozer, which is the fire one, um, is another defense-based damage dealer. That's quite amazing. Attacks 2 times, can stun, which is the same as the other two. Taunt, which is the same as Tractor, which is the water one. And defense is increased by 25% for every beneficial effect on you, and your speed's increased. So essentially, all you're doing is provoking and single target stunning, which is the same idea as Tractor, but Tractor can't be defense broken, and he increases his own attack bar. So I would use Tractor before I used Crane. Irwin with a crit rate lead, 2 shots, additional shot equivalent to your crit rate, meh, whatever. Um, a lot of random stuff. Randomly attacks 4 enemies, continuous damage, and decreased by half of, and your attack power and speed will be increased. So gives himself buffs whenever he's hit. All right. So from that collection, I know this is a long video, and I apologize. I'll try and knock it down a little bit, but those are the 3-star monsters. If you're looking for something easy to build, take a look at the ones that I've kind of shown you. The defense-based damage dealers are really good. If you can get enough speed and protection for attack-based, it's another good idea if you're doing like a Giants B10. But once you start getting into your 4 stars, that's where you're going to start getting your bigger damage, or even your 5 stars if you're lucky enough to get a few. Like I've got a couple. So um, yeah, take a look and see what tickles your fancy. And I think next week we'll try and go through the fire ones or the water ones. Hopefully it's a bit quicker. A lot of them are based off of the same idea, so a lot of their first skills will be the same, so we won't really have to cover those very much. But my suggestions are always going to be speed and defense-based damage, and something that reduces attack bar or defense breaks or speed breaks. So that Shannon in a 2 stars is amazing for everybody because she gives an attack buff and a defense buff. So she'll help your Ramahan hit harder. She'll help um, your attack-based monsters hit harder as well. So hopefully we've broken some of the wind monsters open for you, and you'll take a look at what might help you in the future. I apologize for how long it is. Leave a comment, a thumbs up if you like, um, and let me know if this is helpful for you. If not, I can go through some 4 stars. There's a lot less of them. And then 5 stars are obviously something else we can do. But we'll get through all the 3 stars and then we'll look into all the 4 stars as well. So with that, I've right now at 41 minutes. I hope I can knock it down a little bit. I really apologize for how long it's been. But thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe for next week's fire, water, and then the following weeks, etc., etc. Just like and subscribe. It helps everything out. It's a huge, huge help for all of us on Carbon Knights, so we really appreciate it. And until next time, Knights, keep those shields up. Well, Knights, you made it all the way to the end. You know what that means. You've won the chance to watch another one of our videos, or perhaps even subscribe. Make sure to leave a comment, and we'll see you next time.